6 years, hundreds of episodes, thousands of waffle-related jokes, but one magical idea started it all, sharing our love of Disney with you from a British point of view. So today we're celebrating our journey, reintroducing the team, and sharing what's next for the Great British Mickey Waffle. So sit back, grab a cuppa, and join us as we mark 6 incredible years of magic, mayhem, and Mickey-shaped memories.
Now my wheels in motion and my windows open with the wind blowing in my hair. I'm driving down the highway, gonna do this my way. I can feel it in the air. Here I go.
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Great British Mickey Waffle. If you're expecting our Epcot tour around World Showcase, don't fear. It will not be in today's show, but it will be continuing on the 1st of July because today we're celebrating 6 years of podcasting magic. Whether this is your first episode or you've been with us from the very beginning, thank you for being part of the Waffle family.
We have shared laughs, tears, planning tips, debates, Disney dreams, and more waffle puns than we can count. And it has been an incredible journey so far.
So today, we're taking a minute to look back at where it all began, to introduce ourselves to those who might not know the full story, and to celebrate what's coming next for the Great British.
And yes, of course, the Carousel of Questions is back, and it's had a bit of a glow up as well.
That sounds intriguing. There we go.
Yeah. Concerning.
I was going to say, when we originally did Carousel of Questions, how long? The original plan was a quick fire.
We all managed to do a quick fire. It's when we started inviting other people that they got on.
I just like the abbreviation of it because that makes me giggle. Like, alien swirling saucers and
Yes.
monsters.
Yeah, that is true.
Who doesn't love Be Our Guest?
Do you know what? I never thought of Be Our Guest, actually. That's that's a good one. I like that.
Oh, let's not start on that slippery slope. We know where it ends up. We know where it goes.
We're literally 2 minutes in the show and we're already lowering the tone.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah.
As it should be.
And I've also noticed, for anyone who does watch us on YouTube, that Claire and John are both on the naughty step.
Where they belong.
Rightful place.
I feel comfortable here.
Yeah. Go on. I'm gonna get us started. I'm gonna keep us on the straight and narrow, and actually, I'm gonna take us back in time. A bit like that, Back to the Future malarkey and things like that. I'm going back to 2019, which, very strangely enough, is one of those years that'll be forever etched in my mind. However, a bunch of us were members on the DIP, which is a Disney Planning Forum, where I also know we've picked up rather a lot of new listeners recently, so a big welcome to people who are joining us from the DIP. But it was where one of our favourite UK-based Disney podcasts, as that ended, we thought, why not have a little go at all this podcasting malarkey of our own? And they made it seem so simple, and they made it seem so easy and so flawless and loads of fun. How could you possibly go wrong?
I know exactly what you mean. I feel at the minute, when, was it Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gear would always say, how hard could it be?
Yeah.
And that was the exact thought I had when I sent that message out in April 2019. And that idea became the Great British Mickey Waffle. I know we had a bit of a name change because we were originally the Mickey Waffle.
Only for one episode.
One episode, I know.
And then we found out somebody else had already
Stole
got
that.
that name.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think Great British Mickey Waffle works better.
I do too. And I think it coincided with, was it the Great British Bake Off
The
that
Great
year?
British Bake
Yeah.
Off.
Good inspiration. So,
Forever cashing in on our great name change,
yeah. We recorded our first episode in April 2019, learning as we went. We didn't have the gear, but we had some passion and a love for Disney that we wanted to share. It was so interesting thinking of all the technical, how much technology has moved on since then. And our first few episodes, if you do ever go back to listen to them, do sound like it is sort of 2 bits of can and a bit of string.
Yeah, 2 yogurt pots and a piece
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
We apologise in advance for the quality of those episodes.
I would just say,
It's
don't go back.
raw and unedited.
Don't go back. It's not good.
Yeah. There's a reason we're recessing. You can start from now.
When they make a West End musical of the Great British Mickey Waffle, that will be the bit that's left out.
Yeah.
But like all great things, we just got better with time.
Right. We did.
It's like a fancy wine
Absolutely.
Exactly. Kind of with age.
or a nice cheese.
Well, other than an old pot of cream, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like going sour.
And since then, we have grown a fabulous community. We welcome listeners from around the world who happily share their incredible stories and our guests' incredible stories, both on the podcast, on the Wednesday Lives, and in our Facebook community, the Wafflers Arms. Yeah, if you're not a member already, you definitely should be. It's somewhere that's fun to be around. Everyone's positive and it's such a community. It's a really nice space to be. And of course, we couldn't let today pass without saying a huge thank you to some of the wonderful people who were part of the team originally. As you know, Simon and I, we joined later on, but some of the early members were Lloyd, Sammy, and then we obviously got to work with Peter and Jill. So that was nice too. So thank you for the magic you brought to the waffle in the early days. You've handed the baton on to us and we're hopefully doing you proud.
I just love being able to. The community is the thing that keeps us going, especially between trips.
Absolutely.
Because some people, and I know we over the years we've gone from having one trip a year. It seems to be a little bit more frequent now, and I'm blaming everything on the waffle. But the chat and the community does keep it going, does keep it fresh, because Disney World and all Disney parks do seem to change quite frequently, and it's quite handy if some of us are out there experiencing that, and we get a chance to get a sneak peek at what's happening
Yeah.
in the Disney park.
I think it's also worth mentioning, Ben, as well, that over the 6 years, we actually went through that spell. And this is the bit where kind of life changed for so many people. When we went through lockdowns, we weren't allowed to go out. We actually, we as a community and as a podcasting community, we found people in America, they found us. And actually, that grew a really big, I don't know, it was just, certainly for me, it was just like an outlet where you can talk Disney at a time where the Disney parks were shut, where you were locked in your own home. And it took on a completely different feel altogether, quite often involving excess alcohol late on a Friday night. But that was part of the fun. And actually, I think that is how we ended up starting with the live Wednesdays as well, because we had a little bit of time on our hands, but we actually realized that we did some amazing Friday shows that just went on and on forever and ever. But boy, they were some of the but they were some of the best things.
They weren't all fueled by alcohol, I promise.
No, but they were so much fun, and they really did just lift the spirit at the right time. And I think that really, at a time when it shouldn't have been good, we actually came out of there thinking, yeah, we used Amazon a lot and like bought new microphones and bought new tech and things, and it kind of upped the game bit by bit. And then from there, I actually think we've got much, much better. And I think certainly on a podcast basis, the live shows have actually helped us record much more succinctly and much more, hopefully, informatively. And we kind of keep on task a lot more and actually are quite entertaining, except obviously for the bits where I get the giggles or Claire starts laughing and I can't stop laughing. And
Or one of us swears. And then it's like we don't
swear that
then we
often.
have that panic and go like, are we live or are we just recording?
yeah.
I would never say a rude word. That's
No, I think we've got really good at that, Ben. I've got to say, I think that's certainly, yeah.
But yeah.
I think when we first started, I think some people thought I had Tourette's or something. Yeah.
Before we move on, I wanted just to highlight something that, talking of community, that we've had a few messages recently, and I thought I'd highlight them because they mean a lot to the reason why we do what we do.
Yeah.
So the first one's from Hazy81 on Instagram. I followed you on Instagram for a while, but I've only just started recently listening to the podcast. So I love listening to you all talking so passionately about a place we all love. And I do laugh along with some of the comments that I agree with, especially the one that you're going round the World Showcase the wrong way.
Because, of course, there is a right way and a wrong way.
Do you know what?
And then there's our way.
I'm just going to say that having Morgan having worked in Epcot it was a question that they were told as cast members, there is no right or wrong. So if lots of guests ask which is the correct way to go around World Showcase,
Either.
they are told very clearly the advice you give is there is no right or wrong.
Yeah, that's just diplomacy, though. 'cause everybody knows it's my
Diplomacy.
I've
I'm just giving you the corporate line here.
Yeah.
That's all. I didn't
Yeah.
say I agreed with it.
No,
Yeah, don't
I've
sit in
got
the disco,
I've
that's
got a
all I
vision.
do.
Claire, in your suitcase on your next trip, what you need to take is one of those one-way signs and just start putting them around
Round.
World Showcase. It's on it one way.
Oh, I did when we were there. When we were there a couple of weeks ago, I did have a T-shirt made for my cousin Nikki that says it had a picture of the Mexico pavilion. It said we always start in Mexico.
I
Oh,
love that.
it.
So she bought that.
That is cool.
And we also had another message too from B in Disney 8 on Instagram. I've just finished listening to the episode on Disney park icons, and I'm loving that bit of Disney escapism before having to adult for the day. I feel like I'm joining in a lovely group chat about what I love every time I listen. Thank you. I love this episode.
Oh, it's lovely.
Oh, that's so lovely.
It's these
I love
messages that just
yeah.
put a smile on my face and just
Yeah,
remind us that the Disney community is positive.
very much
That
so,
there is some
Ben.
positivity out there, and that's what we focus on. The whole point when we first started is the Dibcast kept that positivity going for us. It was that moment of joy between trips, and I'm just glad that 6 years on, we've still been able to make people smile.
Yeah. Can I also add in another little bit as well? Because actually, I know we do a live show on a Wednesday, and somebody actually described that show as like a collective midweek hug. And that meant so much because actually for us, doing the show on a Wednesday, it depends on how work's been, it depends on how anything else in your life is going on. But by the time it comes to 8:30 on a Wednesday night, if you just give up an hour of your week, and it's just like you just lose, it's escapism where you're actually able to just lose yourself and just go back to the place you love and park everything else that's going on just for a little bit. And then you now then have a little bit in your tank to see you through until Friday. And that was something that really struck me.
Yeah.
And I also know that there's somebody who's listened to the show recently who's gone back and listened to our Disney cast member summer program that Josh and Morg did last year. And they've actually been in touch with Josh and I think with Morg as well, just asking them because their daughter is going out probably when this goes, it'll be next week as this goes out, which is that really nervous time as a parent because you're thinking, oh my word, how are they going to cope? But they've actually used those shows that we recorded to actually glean the information for their summer away working at Disney. And when you think, do people listen to what we're talking about? I hope you do. And I hope, we hope you're planning. We help maybe save a couple of quid along the way, maybe. But to know that somebody's actually going out to Orlando this summer and they've actually gone and actually got in touch with Josh and Morg just to try to allay their own fears. And that means a lot as well because it means that what we've actually been trying to do has been useful and it's actually provided a little bit of inspiration for their journey as well. So I'm really pleased with that. And again, if people get in touch with us, it's nice to know.
Yeah. I'd say that to you, John. I saw recently that there was a discussion, it was on the Dib actually, about how to choose the villa that you want to stay in. So I mentioned that we did a show earlier this year about how to pick a villa and all our preference, all of the details. I think it was back in February. And actually they responded and said, do you know what? We did watch that show last night and it was incredibly helpful with good tips. And so,
cool.
do you know what? It makes a difference to us if we know that someone's listening. I know we always say if no one was listening, we'd still get together.
We'd still do this.
Enjoy each other's company. But we do enjoy each other's company. I know sometimes we give each other a bit of a hard time, but we enjoy spending time together and we enjoy talking about all of these things. And we love it when you enjoy that.
Yeah.
It's nice for us to know that we're helping a little bit.
And I like when John says about saving money. I have to admit, since we've been doing the waffle, I've spent a lot more money on trips.
Any money.
I was going to say, it depends who's on the show. If John's on the show, maybe. If Friends on the show, maybe not.
There's some Disney math that goes on. A bit like
Oh no, annual pass holder or tickets. There's so many different things.
My favourite kind of math.
Yes.
Save money.
It's
Come on, the same thing applies about just taking an hour out a week It's never an hour a week, is it? Especially
No.
when you're it'll be an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I just like we originally said, oh, it'll be an hour a week. We've only ever done one live show that was 59 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was on that show? I don't remember.
That was, if I remember right.
It was just Ben. It was
Yeah,
Ben.
just me.
That's why it lasted 59 minutes.
I think it was
Was it-
Peter and Jill.
It was Peter,
Was it
Jill,
the-
and Sammy.
Was it
Oh,
there was a
okay.
Valentine's show or something?
Oh.
we did that was
Yeah.
that,
There was
yeah.
a couple that early on we kept to the right time, and then we did.
I have
Yeah.
to admit, we have done so many shows. It's like, I looked earlier on the podcast, we're showing 158.
That's amazing.
And that doesn't include any of the live shows or anything that we've put on YouTube.
That's incredible.
So it's incredible how much stuff we have talked about over the years. But I think actually now is probably a time for us to actually introduce who we are. If someone is new to the show, if this is your first ever show that you have tuned into. So I'm Ben. I'm probably the one who started this madness, or at least
Sure.
had the idea.
It's your fault.
So it's my fault. There we go. I'll accept full responsibility for sending that message.
It's a single
When-
point failure.
Yeah. But at least I have the team to back me up. I hope. But yeah, the person who's behind the tech stuff somehow keeps things going, and just especially when the technology we use keeps updating. And I just love what we do, and is a creative outlet for me. So if there are some random videos on YouTube that don't make any sense, they're probably mine. So I'll
Been
accept
playing.
those. So, but yeah, no, I love Disney. As you can probably tell if you watch on YouTube, that I am sporting a Disneyland Resort top, which I know Claire could probably tell it's Sorcerer Mickey, which just reminded me of the hat from Hollywood Studios.
Makes me want to do Phantasmic Dance.
That'll look really good on the podcast. If you listen on headphones at the
Do you know what?
listen on headphones at the
I
gym. That was great.
I hope that everyone who listened and to the podcast, whether they're driving, hope you're stuck at traffic lights, you're on the treadmill, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I hope you all did the Sorcerer Mickey hand wave.
Yeah.
at the beginning of that, because that's what we all did.
Yeah. And I know a few people on TikTok. I don't know if anyone's seen the there was someone who works at Orlando International Airport. It was just incredible. There was if you
What with his
So
paddles?
funny.
I just thought
Yeah.
it was just like it was perfect. Just throughout the day, doesn't matter where you're working, just put
Just do it.
fantastic music on,
Right.
and there you go.
Join in.
Good that.
It's somewhat dangerous, though, I think, doing that on an of an airport.
Maybe it depends on what job you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, they were in the foyer of the airport.
Okay, I
You'll have
don't like
that airplane moving over
Yeah.
and crashes through the...
through the windows.
They accept no responsibility for any accident at Orlando Airport.
Oh dear.
Who's going next?
Go on, Rebecca. You're terrible at
Me?
introducing yourself.
I'm terrible at introducing myself, and what I've got written down here doesn't make any sense.
I only put it down because Lloyd used to always call you the silent assassin.
He did.
Yeah,
He always
first
used to call
2
me
years
the
of the show.
silent assassin because I'm always the one sitting nice and quietly in the corner, and then I'll say something that apparently makes sense
Or controversial.
or controversial or both.
Mispronounced.
Or most definitely mispronounced. My pronunciations are terrible. But yeah, so I don't really know what I'm supposed to say.
That's okay.
But I would say that you're married to Ben.
I'm married
That's
to
important.
Ben. This is a very good
Don't
point.
know.
We haven't just photoshopped ourselves together.
So
Well,
yeah,
people on the podcast, people listening on the podcast might not even know that you're sat in the same room.
Yeah, there you go.
we're in the same room and everything. So yeah, I'm Becca. I am Ben's wife.
So Ben roped you in.
Ben
Is that what
roped
you're
me into
saying?
this. Yes, he said we're doing a podcast, and I was just like, okay. I have MS. It's not a secret, and so sometimes, well, it's a fairly new development, but I'm learning how to do park days, which is nice and fun. It's a new experience.
Different Disney day.
Different Disney days. Learning to relax more on my Disney trips and take a step
Relaxing?
back. I
Yeah.
know. I'm not quite sure how it's going. I'll be honest.
We're very much looking forward to August to see it's going to be a very different Disney trip to ones when we're in the park first thing and dealing with the heat. That's
Yeah,
going to be
he might do
interesting.
you in.
Yeah, especially in
Yes.
August.
we will see what happens.
Yeah.
An
That's gotta
excuse
be
to lay by
fine.
the Polynesian pool.
Yes.
Oh, I knew.
So-
Just get that.
Yes,
Not
please.
just any pool. Did you hear? Not just any pool.
The Polynesian pool.
pool.
Yeah.
Oh, you're staying at the Polynesian, are you? Oh,
Maybe
I didn't know that one.
In the tower.
We should have also mentioned that we are Disney Vacation Club members.
We are.
And we've been members since 2016, well before the podcast. But we've had some incredible stays with
Yep.
the use of our
We
membership.
haven't quite yet managed to get John to buy in.
John's been close.
I've had
close.
I've had the
Needs to.
calculator out a few times. It must have been. Who's
Keeps on
next?
silent. Who's next?
I mean, it says on the thing, Claire.
Claire's on
Sorry,
the
I
list.
wasn't looking at it. That's
That's all
what
right.
I've got like things going on. Okay, so I'm Claire. So I'm going to say that Ben wrote these for us.
Didn't.
I-
ChatGPT did.
It's okay. AI.
AI wrote
I-
it.
This one
I
was all
actually-
wrong.
I'm quite proud of what AI said about me. I actually
Yeah.
laughed. I laughed when I saw yours, Claire. So when I read mine, I thought, yeah, I like that. Look, I'll take it. Yeah.
Right, so mine says bougie planner. I just think
turns left when entering aircraft.
Always in the
I'm not-
lounge.
Can I just say I'm not the only one who does that though?
As Robin hides.
For those on the podcast, Robin is just hiding.
You know, I do sometimes like to travel in luxury, but I'm also quite happy to not. And I do like a decent meal.
Yep.
But you know, I have one big child who worked at in creations last summer on the Disney College program, and I have a daughter who is a little bit younger who loves all. That's. But I like a drink as well.
That's not written down there. And
Two
did
of
mention
No, I'm
that.
adding that in because I think you'd miss that bit out when you put the details into AI.
All I can say is that I gave it our podcast link and said, like, describe
Obviously, I
the
don't
team.
mention it enough then.
No, I'm actually even more impressed. You
I
added
just
that
love it
bit
come
in
up
as
with
well.
bougie.
I know.
Yeah.
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 I love that.
Yeah.
Go on, John. What did it say about you?
Mine was really nice. I'm going to read it word. I've got it here word for word because I'm going to get it put up on the wall. Like, you know, this is it. GBMW Waffle's walking encyclopedia of Disney deals and discounts. Thank you very much. Our money-saving mastermind with a passion for family travel. Okay, yeah. Except I'm not taking the family this year. Hey.
The translation for all of that is tight northerner.
Yeah. For that, classic attractions and a sharp wit. There you go.
Yeah.
I'll have that as someone from Liverpool originally. I'll have that because that's exactly what you want. But yeah, I actually didn't feel as if I belonged on here when I started. Purely for the fact that I was invited because I was a trip report writer and still am. I was a trip report writer and I still am. And actually, that's all on the dib. And yeah, I'll get round to finish off last summer's eventually. And in 2019, actually, I was at the very end of a very long career. I was a really grumpy person in my working life, and I did something about it. And I'm even now I'm sort of immensely proud of how I've changed over the 6 years that we've been doing this. Because I packed my job in, which isn't probably advisable if you knew that there was a pandemic arriving and you wouldn't have any work to actually provide for the family. But hey, that's kind of the story of my life. So I went and trained to be a driving instructor, which I really enjoy. But these guys actually helped me through my cancer journey. And I remember the show when I couldn't make out whether I could tell everybody that actually I might not be able to talk for the rest of my life. And so rather than send a text to one person and not the other, I decided the only way I could do it was actually on screen, which, looking back on it, is probably the most unfair thing that I've ever managed to put across to you guys. But it was the only way I could think that I could tell you all at the same time. But thankfully from there, thank you to a most amazing surgical team. Actually, yeah, unfortunately for you guys, I still can talk. Still could
Oh, he can
probably
talk.
And talk.
Not put the waffle for nothing.
I mean,
No, I don't.
this
but the
brief
thing-
introduction to John is
but the thing is, when I was working in schools, if anybody wanted an assembly, I'd get the job. You go and do the assembly, sunshine. But you'd get a note coming back from the staff room. You might need to do an extra 15 minutes. You might need to do. Oh, it might need to be another half an hour. So I'd be able to blag it and try actually spin it out and things like that. So that's how I get the reputation of actually being able to talk. And actually, over the past 6 years, not only has it been brilliant to meet all of you guys, but it's been amazing to meet people who listen to the show and who've been part of the show. And that really for me is a bit that, I think Becca said to me very early on that I'm now a creator. Now, I kick against all this social media malarkey, and I really, it doesn't agree with me at all. So the whole thought of being a creator at the beginning wasn't high on my list of descriptions. And it's a bit like that influencers on Instagram, which is why I don't really do Instagram. But it kind of comes home to roost when you meet people, when you go to Florida and you meet people who we've had on the show, and the friendship and the love that comes from what we've done over 6 years. And if you listen for the very first time, I do tend to ramble on, but actually I do tend to make people cry occasionally as well. So I make no apologies for it, because actually this has been a labour of love over 6 years, and it kept me going through my dark days, because the bad days I wasn't quite as chirpy and witty and things like that. But I love doing this, and I just think it's great to know that there's people out there who listen, and there's people out there who actually, they quite like saving a couple of quid along the way as well. So, I'm with you guys. I'm with you in the car, because that's how I found the Dibcast. And I think we found today that actually the day lasts for 5 years, and that's the bit for us is we're now into unknown territory as to where you go as a podcast, because we're now edging in that bit where you kind of become known as being established.
Oh my goodness.
Established as what?
I don't know. I have no idea, but it's just like,
I should feed this into the AI and see what we're established at doing.
Talking.
But John, I want to highlight that moment when you said that you told us all on the podcast at the end of a recording.
Yeah.
And it just took me right back. I was like, I remember. That was just brutal. We were just brutal.
Yeah.
We were all in shock.
It was, but I couldn't think of how I could tell everyone at the same time. And
Yeah.
I completely got why you did it.
Yeah.
But just the love that I have for you, like, I couldn't just tell one person and then, can you tell everyone else? And I can't send you all separate messages, because and then it just wouldn't have come out right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And actually, when it did come out right anyways. So, but hey, it's thankfully it's one of those things that you put down to experience, and again, it's another thing that, having written about it in my trip report, people have got in touch with me, and it's given them strength to know that their next trip, because they're currently undergoing chemo, it's giving them inspiration. And that's really why I like to write stuff down and put pictures in and say stupid things, and probably have the same joke every single year, moving forward about different things. But it is what it is me, and it's why say something in 2 seconds when you can take 30,000 words to write it all down.
That's the tagline for every Wednesday show going forward.
What about the newbies then?
Might be the
But they're not really newbies, because actually they were originally
for about 2 years now.
and originally they were guests.
Yeah.
We were.
When
We were
guests become permanent, that's always a good
That's
sign.
their tag.
right?
That's your tagline.
I
Yeah,
was going to
always-
say, was it a guest that became permanent, or were you scraping the barrel? You're like, oh no, Sam and Lloyd are leaving.
Oh
What
no,
are we
no,
gonna
no,
do?
no! We've got a very deep barrel. We've got many other guests. We've got many other guests who are right down at the bottom of that barrel. I'm
Jason
pretty
there
sure of
somewhere?
that.
I know exactly who you're thinking about as well. So my brain went straight there. That's a different show, isn't it? Who was
Who's
the
on the
most?
bo- who's the who's on the
Who was
bottom
the
of the barrel?
hardest person to interview?
Oh! I know that one, and it's a surprising answer.
I know.
It's a shocking answer, actually, but I'm going to keep that secret.
Yeah.
If you are listening to the show and wish to get in touch with us personally, send us a message. I will divulge. but it's, yeah, we can't-
Messages, John.
Yeah.
Was it me?
Was it me?
Was
Yeah.
it me?
So yeah, that's where we started. We were guests on the show that were invited back.
How long ago was that?
It was like it was a Christmas. No, we did a show. Then we came back for the Christmas party, and I think that was
2022?
2020
it
was
was
the
2022.
yeah,
the
'cause-
party that we did, because we then have done two since then,
Mhm.
and that was the party where we realised how much alcohol got drunk during a show.
No, that was
That was
the infamous
2020.
Christmas party.
That was
no,
2020.
No, it was like it was
21.
during lockdown.
Yeah,
Was it?
2020.
Was it 21 then?
No, it was
Oh.
21, I think, Ben, because that's the
Oh.
infamous party where Lloyd made the cocktail.
Oh, where the ceiling fell in.
The ceiling fell in.
And I'm
Yes!
threw mine all over the desk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
things
Was
don't
that
count.
also the re-gifted gift, maybe? It was interesting. This is when we were just kind of, I think this was the second test to find out if we were going to fit in.
Could you cut it?
Could we cut it? Yeah.
Oh dear.
The
So I
ability
do
to
sort of
laugh
wonder
at
where.
yourself.
Yeah, I wonder where it got. One of the points is a bit weird. How I think it may be how Ben's cut it down in here, but yeah,
I
so-
just seen that it's
just without any sort of additional context in there. Yeah. So
You have to read it now, Simon, because nobody else knows why we're laughing, but I just read it.
so this is ChatGPT's interpretation
But the Ben has cut
but
down.
that Ben has cut down. So
Just copied and pasted.
music nerd. Okay. People will know I've a pop master-esque knowledge of music, random facts. Storytelling analyst, yeah, I can go with that. I love imagineering and backstories. Deep diver. Yeah.
The deep sea diver.
Take it.
What sort of diving do you do?
Take it as a compliment. Take it as a compliment, Simon. That's all I'll say. Take it as a compliment.
Deep diving into what is the history?
You can't say
Oh, I've looked up what it actually says in the full text.
Oh,
Well, it
okay.
says, Simon, our musical maestro, history lover, and all-round Imagineering enthusiast, Simon's deep dives and thoughtful takes always adds a new dimension to the waffle.
There you go. That's far more.
Usually
polite.
should have used the full ones.
And
Try it right now.
I asked ChatGPT to shorten it for the script. Clearly,
and the lesson of the story is write it yourself. Never trust
Proofreader.
ChatGPT.
Oh my Lord.
that's another moment. I still think we should do one full show of ChatGPT and see where it takes us. And that could be
Oh my gosh.
Oh, the AI show.
That would drive me crackers. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be allowed to say what I want to say. That'd be awful. I would just like I'd feel
I'd
as
be
if
interested to. I'd love to see where it sends me off as a deep diver in an episode. To be honest.
get your snorkel on. That's it.
The full context. I feel like that's quite
I-
accurate.
Yeah, the full
description of
context
you.
is
It's
very
nice, isn't it?
accurate.
I have got a feeling what we should do, we've done t-shirts before and mugs and things. We should have like a picture of us with those taglines on the t-shirt. Deep diver. Sorry.
I can make
With
this
a-
happen.
Yeah, with a not suitable for work on the bottom of it.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh dear me. No, that's
So maybe.
now if you're listening for the first time and you're possibly mightily offended by the fact that we've introduced ourselves using ChatGPT. We normally don't use it, but actually, in this circumstance, it's actually allowed a little bit of a different reflection on actually what we are all about. And yeah, I think it requires a little bit of work.
A little bit of fine-tuning.
I don't know. I feel like fine.
Yeah,
I
mine
know,
is quite accurate.
Yeah.
The shortened version says
It's a-
Disney fashion icon and sparkle enthusi
Is that like a park icon?
Oh,
I quite like it though. I quite like it. So yeah, if you didn't know, if you're listening, you don't watch, I am Robin, I am Simon's wife. If you are watching, yeah, we are in the same room, so you probably gathered that much.
Well, that makes a change because you're normally the other side of the Atlantic whenever Simon's on.
I don't know what to mean.
it's like,
How rude.
I couldn't resist.
Yeah, it does make a change. It's the first full week. I got back from Florida a week ago today as we record, so yeah, it's probably not that rude at all. Yeah, we're DVC members with one or two home resorts, Disneyland being one of them. Hey Ben, pretty good, right?
it looks
Yeah.
really good. We even had a
It's
walk through
very
the hotel and thought, oh, we
Yeah.
need to stay here at some point.
Yeah.
But then I looked at the points and got like, ooh, okay.
Who would
Yeah.
I mean, I would have brought them there and then, but
Back to the Holiday Inn Express it is then.
Yeah. I'm not going to say anything bad about the Sheraton. It's a 10-minute walk away.
to be fair, the Sheraton is lovely, but we'll go talk about that in another show.
Yeah. We need a conversation about that later. Not that we're planning a trip to Disneyland or anything.
Oh,
But yeah, that's I kind of echo a little bit what John had to say. Obviously, long listeners will know that I've unfortunately had cancer. It was 2 years ago. 2 years ago last week that I found out I had cancer as well. And the show really brought me comfort. Not only my friends here, we're all friends. The friends that watch the show as well, the community of support is unmatched for me. It's funny that sometimes just the littlest thing, knowing someone's thinking of you and sending you their thoughts and sending you their love, how much that can do for you, and it really helped me come through. And it's not been easy since. There's been lots of new life to learn. I'm a permanent ileostomy wearer. I don't know what you say. Owner. Yes, I'm an owner. I'm a permanent ileostomy owner. I have a bag. I have a bag of poop stuck to me.
You have a bag
At
full
when
one
you
time.
say owner, all I can think of is cars.
I think
But
it's
that doesn't-
DVC.
DVC. Is it-
Own it.
We've
Yes.
had many jokes about your bag and glitter and all sorts of things. Robin's bag for life. You know, we've talked
My
about
own bag
this
for life. Yeah,
many
I
times. And you're cool with it.
I am cool with it. Do you know what? If you can't laugh about these things, where are you? And I talk quite openly about it because I want to normalise it. It's not something I'm ashamed of. It's not something that anyone should be ashamed of. I'll tell you a lovely story that I'm sure you're all going to appreciate. I don't think I've told you this before. I had my first strawberry daiquiri, and about an hour later, this was in Volcano Bay. An hour later, I found myself in the bathroom, and after about 30 seconds of, oh my God, I'm dying. Where is all this blood coming from? Oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm on the other side of the world. Oh, wait, I had a strawberry daiquiri. It's okay.
It's like when you eat beetroot, you know.
Yeah.
It was like that. It was terrifying for about 30 seconds. And then, once my brain kicked in, I was like, oh no, wait. So yeah, if you can't laugh about these things, where will we be? So if ever anyone finds themselves in a situation where they want to know more about it, more about me, you can always drop me a PM. I will talk to you if you're going through something similar, or someone's going through something similar, put them in touch with me. I had a wonderful friend who did that for me, and it gave me so much comfort, everything, each step of the way for me. So I would love to be able to be that comfort for someone else. So yeah, if ever you're worried, come to me and we'll have a chat, and I'll show you that having your own bag for life is not actually what. And do you know what? I'm one step closer to being a Barbie doll now. It's not all bad.
Robin, can I also
Yeah.
say you've shared so much on your Instagram, and I actually even from this side of things, it has been so inspiring because you actually haven't been afraid of sharing. And actually, I really take my hat off to you because actually you have given so much inspiration to so many people that are suffering in a similar way to you and going through that same journey where you're very fearful of how life is going to change and things like that. And again, as someone who has never really got to terms with social media, apart from Twitter, where I'm a really grumpy person.
Who isn't, John? Who isn't?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a prerequisite.
But
demographic.
Robin, I think what you put on your socials is absolutely inspiring, and I do admit I should have done the same myself.
Well, everyone
I know
copes,
it's me.
everyone copes and
It is, it's
deals in
me.
different ways, John,
know.
and it was a way of coping for me to normalise it
Yeah.
for everyone else and to normalise it for myself. So it's not completely selfless, because there is an element of me just normalising for me as well.
No, I can understand that. Totally understand it.
Oh, actually, do you know what? There's something else I'd love to add about me, if you
go
don't
on.
mind. I've got a small business. So if you don't already know, I run a little sewing business called Sew Tiki, and I make pocket t-shirts, accessory, Disney skirts, or magical inspired skirts.
But that's why ChatGPT said you were our Disney fashion icon. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not because I'm beautiful and gorgeous then.
It's fashion. It says fashion icon. It's what you wear. That's it. It's all your highly fashionable stuff that you flog from your online shop.
That ships internationally. Yes.
It does. It ships internationally. If you have an idea and I haven't already got it, just message me. We can make it happen.
Is that ships with a P on the end? Sorry.
Yeah. Do you know what?
Yeah.
Millie has a couple of tops that came from Sew Tiki, and we were in the queue for Winnie the Pooh last October, and she was wearing her bowback vest top. And the people in the queue behind us were like, "Where is it from? It's amazing!" So we were able to direct you with the Disney Wi-Fi that works in the back of the UK pavilion. We were directing, showing them the Sew Tiki website there and then.
Thank you.
I've had an idea for a
Thank you
show
very
because
much.
of that, Claire.
What?
Strongest areas in the park for Wi-Fi.
Oh, Disneyland Paris, you're out.
Yeah, that'd be a short chat.
So if you need to work from a Disney park, we can tell you where to
that's
go.
Do you know what? Working whilst you're at Walt Disney World, that's a great idea for a show, because we know people that have their favourite places. Okay.
Yes.
John, have you got a Post-it note?
Yes.
Get it on a note.
As
Thanks,
always,
John.
as always.
We need a deep dive, John. That's what
Simon to the rescue.
Now
That's a
the
new
problem,
segment.
the problem there, Simon, and I'm going to speak on behalf of every teacher who listens to that. If you mention deep dives, that's where you get an Ofsted little ping in your mind and things like that. So if you're a teacher,
Ofsted is not where my mind went.
I'll
be honest.
No, I know, but it's just like, it might be deep dives and Ofsted are not good. But yeah, it's on the post-it. I'm going to move us on, because actually we have got more fun, because over the years we've kind of grilled a few people with our wonderful Carousel of Questions, which Claire abbreviated perfectly earlier on. Maybe we should get that. There's a French kit manufacturer which has recently gone bust, Lecoq Sportif.
Sportif.
Yeah.
Now, if my wife listens to this, she's the one person that if you mention the word Lecoq Sportif to, she goes into a giggle. Now, if you think I'm bad, Lecoq Sportif, and you just say it's a French rugby jersey. Oh, but look.
I apologise that I'm going to have to go through the subtitles on YouTube to edit.
Okay, right, there we go. We'll just, we can.
It's French. It's French.
It's French.
If it stays in, it stays in.
Yeah.
Well,
There we
that
go.
needs to go on a t-shirt for us.
What we need to do, GBMW COQ.
The Carousel of Questions.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Right, anyway, so you've heard us ask the same it started as 10. It kind of evolved into a couple more added
15,
on
I
as
think,
well.
didn't it?
Yeah,
eventually.
it kind of took on a life all of its own, with so many amazing different answers, and actually some that if you actually graphed it all up, some of the answers were very, very similar, except for the one regarding car parks, etc. But we'll leave that for another time. But we're going to bring the magic back, right? But we've changed the question, added some little brand new ones, and we are not going to go through person by person and question by question, because actually, if you're listening in the car, you could probably drive from Glasgow right down to London and back in the time in which we could actually get through another carousel of questions. So
Pretty
we're
much,
going
you could drive from Clare's to John's and back.
yeah, probably, yeah, and the worst part of the journey would be
Not
the
the speed
last.
I drive.
It'd be but the worst part of the journey would be the last hour as you come from York across to the East Coast to mine. It takes forever. Just saying. But yeah, I think we're onto something here, and actually, I think this is really good fun because I've got so many regrets about the answers I gave to the original Carousel of Questions that I would change if we were able to do it again. However, we're going to do different questions. We might come back and do these as different a whole list, and then we'll get back to it. But go on, Claire, what are you going to ask me?
I'll say, what's your catchphrase? Go with your heart.
Go with your heart, and then wake up tomorrow morning and realise in your head you gave the wrong answer.
That's it.
Yeah. Go on then, John. I'm going to start by asking you, John.
Oh,
which
right.
attraction do you wish you could ride for the first time again?
Oh, right. Now, this is going to be a shock. This is a shocking answer. And I don't think you're all prepared for this. If I should turn it around and say, which answer do you think I'm going to give? I'm going to go for It's a Small World.
I knew you were going for that one.
Did you?
I don't know why. I just knew you were going to say It's a Small
It was
World.
the first ride I ever went on, way, way back in the day when I went to play golf in Orlando. And then I was persuaded to come off the golf course and we'd just go and have a little look at the parks. Because actually, we got a bus in, and you used to come in Magic Kingdom the wrong way. So you crossed the railway track and it was the first ride, and it threw me forever because I couldn't figure out why It's a Small World was on the right hand side, and it just and I'll never ever forget it. I'll never forget, because I again, going back to the fact, I'm actually my go-to person is being grumpy about stuff, and actually sitting on It's a Small World is actually that bit where you realise that, yeah, this is quite good. I might be in trouble, and from that moment,
If only you knew how much.
and from that moment, not only does it cost me a whole lot of money, but it's passed on to my kids. So when the kids turned up, it became their go-to one. And there's a really, really embarrassing video of our Joe, and he must have been probably only 2 at the time, and he's sat, and we're in the front row of It's a Small World, and he's just dancing as a 2-year-old in the front row of the boat to the whole music all the way around, and it's beautiful. And you look back on it and you think, I don't think anybody could design anything now that could epitomise and bring together everything that goes on within the world, with the music, within the whole ride, within the visuals, within the Mary Blair design, and it's everything. And that's the one that you have to go back and do it, and you have to go back and just sort of explore that just sheer, simple magnificence of Imagineering and exactly what Walt was all about.
I'd just recommend not riding it with us, because we're
I knew
There was someone in Paris.
that was on Disneyland Paris, not Disney
That's
World,
different.
but-
That's different.
but yeah.
Who else wants it? Go on, Claire. You tell me yours, because actually, I think
Oh, do you know what? It's really interesting because as you were talking about it, and I was like, which ride would I? And just reflecting on my most recent trip, I think that there's a reason why I'm going to say this. So the ride that I think I would like to be able to Ix on again is probably Tower of Terror. And so this last trip was the first time that my cousin has ever ridden Tower of Terror. She's never, ever been prepared to do it. She's too scared, not her bag. And I persuaded her to go with me, and just enjoying that anticipation and for me, it's not my favourite attraction, but I do. And I remember the first time I rode it, and I think the words "you screamed like a banshee" came. I still do every single time, and there's something about it makes the build up for that particular ride gives me butterflies. It doesn't matter even now to an extent, but nowhere near as much as it did that first time where I'm stood in that room with the TV screen. That bit really makes me anxious, and I know the cast members used to be a little bit more interactive than they are now. And then that walk through and that build up of while you're waiting to load into. I saw Nikki experience that for the first time 2 weeks ago, and it was amazing. And I just said, I would love to be able to go back, and whilst it absolutely petrified me, and I was so ready to go, I can't do this. Actually, that intense anxiety it created, which makes the attraction what it is, and that not knowing what's going to happen. I think because it's random, and yes, in Orlando you can feel the heat from outside just before you start moving up and down. But I just think it's such a clever build up. You don't realise quite how being sucked into it. Doesn't matter how many times you ride it, but that first time, amazing. And I would love to do that again. Have that knowledge of what's coming.
I love this question.
That's actually a really hard question. I've got like 4 answers in my head.
I know.
I'm going to have to pick one.
We're all going to go with one because I'm going to say Rise
Yeah,
to
that's fine.
Resistance.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't find it's as much of re-rideability. It's good. We've done it at Disneyland, and I have to admit, the one at Disneyland, it all works. The cannons, that everything. There was no, when we were there was no B mode. No, it was all perfect.
Kylo Ren was
Favourite child.
there.
Yeah, it's exactly as it should be, which is funny because not that long ago, Disney filmed the attraction so they could put it out for May the 4th, and they used the one in Disneyland, not the one in Disney World. I'm guessing
the
because
humidity in Orlando that gets to him.
I wonder whether there is sort of a heat and a sort of a maintenance thing with the one in Orlando.
Maybe one Disney is more favoured than the other. And it just gets everything
controversial, yeah.
Quite possibly. But yeah, I just think the whole is something I'd love to do, as just seeing everything from the first time, from just working where the queue line begins, seeing the pre-show, walking into sort of the hangar bay with the stormtroopers, and just that awe of like, where are we? And just being shot, just moved along the queue and just getting into the ride. And that would be something I'd love to do for the first time. How about you, Becca? You got to pick one of your 4.
I know I've got to pick one. I'm actually going to go for Big Thunder Mountain, but not because I enjoyed it more the first time, but because of your reaction when we first did Big Thunder Mountain.
Unrepeatable.
Yes,
I didn't swear.
Nearly swore. So this was Ben's first ever roller coaster, ever, and there was me sitting there laughing my head off all the way around, and there's Ben holding on so tightly that his knuckles were white, swearing under his breath.
Trying not to swear.
You were swearing under your breath. There was swearing. And I'm not sure what was more fun, his reaction or the ride.
But the thing is, going back on it now, I would not be like that.
No,
because
going back on it now, you're not like that.
it's a huge
So
difference.
I'd like to do that again, because that was fun.
A big change from when first going to Disney World to sort of more recently, where I'm happy to go on more thrilling attractions.
Is that the ride vehicle that's got the nails stuck into the seats? I just like, if you look at it, you can see someone's fingernails actually in the hard plastic of the seating. Yeah. Ben was here.
Luckily, Big Thunder Mountain's having a refurb now, so we replaced the trains.
They'll be gone next time.
It'll be twice
That's the
as
reason
fast.
having a refurb, just to get rid of it.
Twice as fast.
Good.
Go on, Robin and Simon, share yours as well. This is a great question.
You got one, Simon? I've got one.
Mine's a bit out of the box, so it's not like an attraction in the parks. I'd like to go back and redo the first ferry ride I ever took to Magic Kingdom.
Because
Because that
Yeah.
I don't think anything replicates that, and like that first anticipation of you can see the castle across the lake, and you almost don't know what your day is going to be, and it's
You
that
don't know what's
anticipation
coming.
of first visit to the park ever, and the transport, either the monorail or the ferry over, is the most amount of anticipation about being in a Disney park. I'd love to experience that again.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing is that having taken parents and going with people that have never been, I took a load of my work colleagues to Disney, and some of them had never been to a Disney park before. And that getting them to see Disney for the first time was nice to be able to share that with other people and see what their experiences of the first time in a Disney park were like. And I'd love to be able to go back and replay that moment again. Luckily, we'll get it when we go to whichever the next Disney park is we go to that we've not been to. But there's only 2 of them left at the moment.
That moment was robbed from me the very first time I went. I know I mentioned it earlier, and I was on a hotel shuttle, and you were on the bus, but it dumped you into a place in Magic Kingdom that no longer exists. And you actually, like I said, you had to walk across the railway, and you were actually dumped into the middle of the park. And so you missed out on that
I didn't know that ever
but you missed out
happened.
on that whole anticipation bit. And then when we went after that, I was like, I was trying to find me. I was completely lost walking into Magic Kingdom, but the whole reveal was for that very first visit was robbed from me, because actually you didn't get the view of the castle at all until you actually got to the hub, and it was really bizarre. What you're saying really hits so hard, because it's the most beautiful thing, Simon. And I think that is, it doesn't matter if you've been never or you've been 100 times, that whole anticipation as you get in the ferry. And we generally always on the first day, we'll get the ferry rather than monorail, because actually I think it's that slow, just unveiling of what you're about to experience. And as it just sort of gets closer and closer, it's a wonderful feeling, even as a grown up. And this
I
is
think
the bit,
even on your
it's
200th visit to Magic Kingdom, I think you still have an anticipation about arriving via ferry and seeing the castle glimpse above the tree line. There's something that it's hard to not be pulled in by that kind of magic of an anticipation.
Beautiful.
So
So, Robin, what's your attraction that you'd love to ride for the first time?
The bad side of going last is lots of the attractions that I've thought of have been said, but in the spirit of trying to think of something different, I did think one of the things I thought of at first was Flight of Passage, just because I remember the first time I rode it just being so blown away. But my top has got to be Radiator Springs. I would love to be able to ride that again, because it's such an incredible ride. It really is what Test Track should be.
Yeah.
It's so good. And as someone who's not really been that much of a fan of cars, not a fan at all, it's incredible. And I didn't know what to expect and what was happening, and I hadn't read anything about it. And to see it all and experience it all for the first time, I was blown away. So I just love to have that feeling of, it's still amazing, it's still great, but not knowing you go around a corner and this happens, you go around that corner and this happens, and then you get to the end and this happens. Not knowing any of that for the first time was brilliant. And I think it would be fun to experience that again if I could. I think that's got to be my
That's a
win.
good choice. I like that.
It is a brilliant ride.
And you were right, it is an attraction that Test Track should really be.
I hope they bring some elements of that ride to the new Magic Kingdom.
Even though I will miss that with Epcot, with Test Track, they won't. You won't be able to build like a crazy looking car.
I wonder what they'll do instead, though.
Yeah,
sure it'll be
I'm very
amazing.
interested to see what they do when that should open later this year.
Maybe they go into the history of the automotive industry.
Maybe.
A deep dive.
A deep dive.
It's a winner. It's a winner. Let's go backwards instead of forwards.
I'll await the phone call. Deep diving along.
Okay. What's a Disney smell that instantly makes you smile? Go on then, John. I want you to answer that one first.
I'm the worst person to talk to about smells. Goodness. Because I'm the person who buys all kinds of candles and from different places that you would, just so that you get to recreate in your own home that little bit of Disney magic. And the only one, apart from the smell of the monorail, which, obviously,
No one wants
there's obviously
that.
nobody's ever done a candle that's ever recreated that damp smell.
No, do you know what it is? Millie got on the monorail last October, and she said to me, "Mum, I've worked out what it smells like. This smells like the school farm."
I don't think that's what Disney were going for.
I think you're
but-
probably Billy's on
Next time
point.
you get it,
I'm
smells
I'm
like
more
farm.
intrigued about just how bougie is this school that it's got its own
it does
farm.
have
It's next to the croquet lawn. Yeah. near the Nighthawk mini golf course.
I can't.
Exactly.
I actually can't even answer that question.
My school was that great that we were lucky at I actually put in indoor toilets. That was the bit that was even worse. But hey, that's another thing. Going back to smells, there are so many, and I think I know we talk about this quite a lot because actually no matter what park you're in, the music, the smell, and everything goes together. But I'm going to go a little bit sort of off from the parks. I'm actually going to go to the hotels because actually having been fortunate in 2019 in that summer, we spent 10 nights at the yacht club, and the yacht. If you've never had the chance, the yacht and beach club, even for one night, the smell as you are in that hotel stays with you forever. It is just one of those things that no matter where you are, if you have even just a scent of it, it's like it takes you back, and it is stunning. It's just like it is a truly Disney sort of scent. It's probably one of them things that you probably mix two different oils together and you create this and the other. But yeah, that's candle making. But it's just a wonderful place, and actually it's such a happy place to actually have that smell that you can still experience when you come home. And unfortunately, at this point in time, can no longer afford to stay at the Yacht and Beach Club for 10 nights.
So I've got a candle instead.
Yeah, the candle will do. But yeah, that's a smell for me that actually I think is one that really does take home.
That's really. I love the fact that you said that, John, because when I read this question earlier and I was thinking about how other people might answer it, I said to myself, if John doesn't say the smell of the Yacht and the Beach Club, there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
That's literally when I think about the Yacht and Beach Club, I always think about you talking about how the yacht club's so calm, but also the smell of the lobby and how atmospheric it is. So I'm really glad you did go with that.
What I love is that Disney have now, since the 50th, because during the 50th, every resort had the 50th smell.
Yeah, they've got rid of those.
They got rid of that. And because I remember when we
Yeah.
were back in 2022, then we walked into different lobbies and it was like, oh, they're all unique. They're all different.
they're
They're-
unique
That's what
again.
it's meant
That's
to
what-
smell like.
And yeah, they're this. For me, a smell, if we think of resorts, it's going to be, I'm going to
See,
steal
I
yours,
think
Claire,
they're
but
missing-
Grand Destino.
Yeah, I love
So
it. Yeah.
unique.
I mean, I think this is a show in itself, but I think they're missing a trick. They should have a really Floridian hotel. Now, make of that what you will and decide how that might pan out. But I think that they haven't got a Florida. They've obviously got Chef Art Smith's Homecoming, which is like a Florida-based restaurant where it's, Art Smith who came from Florida and he did the college program and he's opened a restaurant there and it's like complete full circle. I just think they should have a hotel, a resort, which has got a Florida theme and it has that smell of oranges when you walk in, and they could have orange bird everywhere. I just think they're missing a trick. Disney, you can
Hang on a minute. Hang on. I get my phone. I'm getting on the phone with Bob.
I mean, I'm not saying it isn't a trailer park, but it
I
could
mean,
it's-
I will.
There's
I'm
no
going to
awful
stop you
wilderness.
there.
what a great
I'm going to
idea,
stop you
though.
there, Claire. I feel like if you go to Disney's Vero Beach Resort,
yeah.
you have
Yeah.
a hotel that's themed about Florida, smells I
But
would
it's not
also
in Walt
say
Disney World. It is over in
it's no
Beer
Walt
Road.
Disney World, but it is Florida themed, very definitely, and Florida beachy themed.
Yeah.
And I would say it is the best smell, and that would be my smell of my favourite smell of
I
Disney.
do have the candle for Beer Road.
Isn't it incredible? It's just
And
beautiful.
that orange blossom smell is amazing.
Yeah.
I think we need to revisit smells of Disney World.
We do need to go
Get the
back.
wax melts back out.
Yeah. It's a bit like, I know we haven't mentioned like stuff we've done before, but I remember smells and concrete are things that I think we need to recover on the show.
Concrete.
Yeah, there you go.
And restrooms.
Restrooms.
We do need
Bins.
to go back to restrooms. There's a lot of new restrooms we still.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can talk about Disneyland's restrooms.
Which generally
It's
much nicer than Walt Disney
Disney
World.
Worlds.
Mm.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
Go on, Simon.
Favourite
What's your
child?
smell? That's how you.
As a deep-
maybe you should be asking me.
as a- as a-
Bear in the big blue house.
as a-
What's that smell?
as a deep diver, that could be a very different conversation altogether, couldn't it? Like, you know.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
So what's your smell, Simon?
Oh,
Depends on the time of day.
Sorry.
What's your favourite smell of Disney, Simon?
so, smell at Disney. Okay. Mine's going to be a bit of an unusual one because everybody always says hotels and orange smell. Yeah, I love the old orange smell on Soarin', the original Soarin'
yeah.
of California.
Mhm.
The smells on
Yeah,
that
yeah.
were the
Yeah.
best. But the one that always invokes memories for me is the Rome Falls smell on Spaceship Earth.
Oh.
That combined with the 1970s engineering smells of Spaceship Earth. There's something about
smell
that
and
that-
taste that
Yeah,
now.
The oily, greasy smell of Spaceship Earth when you get
Yeah.
on, and then the smell of Rome Falls as you go around. Those are evocative smells for me.
Definitely.
But are they pleasant smells?
Oh, they
I'm not
are
saying
though.
that-
They
they
are.
are. They are.
They're evocative
They're just
memories
totally
of it.
unique. Yeah.
Yeah.
Olfactory smells are the olfactory sense is the thing that absolutely evokes memories. If anyone wants to read about it, there's loads of research around it. It is the one thing that you use to trigger memory, and it's such a thing that I can think of things from my childhood and I can smell them, even though I'm just sat here thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's such an amazing sense. As Figment tells.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a smell of
Not that
not
smell.
a smell I would put
Speaking of
on my
smells.
list. Yeah.
Ben, Becca.
So many to choose from. I'm actually going to say Pirates of the Caribbean.
Ooh, pirate
That
water.
kind of mixture of the Pirates Caribbean. Sorry, the mixture of the water and again that burning smoky smell as you're going through that part where they've burnt down the village, mixed in with that water.
That's good. I like that.
It's like warm chlorinated
Yeah.
water smell.
But
Yeah.
damp.
Yeah.
A little bit damp.
It's a bit mouldy, damp. Yeah, and sweaty. Yeah. Depends how full your boat is. Might have an odour of like a bit of BO.
Yeah, it depends how warm it's been.
It's really difficult to choose. There are so many, but I'm surprised, Claire, you didn't choose this one. But
I haven't chosen anything.
have
yet.
you not? I might take your one actually. If I think this is going to be your choice. But we're in Tomorrowland, and the smell of the Speedway. It's something that-
I love the speed.
I
Yeah.
have to admit, every time I'm on the People Mover, it's
Yeah.
something that takes me back to that.
Oh, I can
Oh.
literally smell that this minute, and I absolutely love it.
But it
Oh, I
also
can
takes
smell
me
it too,
back
and I've got a migraine coming up.
to being a small kid, right?
Petrol
And-
station.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the days
It's that
when
moment.
your parents were filling the car up and you'd wind the window down and you sat in the back. just to get the fumes from the old
Four-star
four-star
leaded,
petrol. Yeah.
Climbed the window up so I didn't have to smell it.
Smell the lead, guys. Smell the lead. That's amazing. Yeah. It's like-
I don't know what you mean anyway, John. Only as a kid, I still do. I'm not just spraying the tap all over the place.
Talking about smelling the lead and diving.
Oh dear.
You're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh man, I absolutely get that, Ben.
Yeah.
You didn't steal that from me because I
No.
didn't even think of that one.
It was one that it's trying to think of when you walk through a park and there's just certain areas of the park
Yeah.
that you just go like,
Mm,
that is specifically
that
that.
smell. Yeah, you know
Mm.
exactly where you are just by smelling.
Can I just
So I
chuck into that same mix, right? Because this has always been one of the ones that's really bugged me. You know, when you used to come off Splash Mountain and you walk underneath the railway park, and there was always a build up of gas. You'd walk off, it was like,
Yeah.
It
and
smelled like the geysers and everything. It was like the
But it was
sulphury smell.
yeah,
I
but
don't
it was-
think it was
Yeah.
the toilets, but it was like
no, but it was like this. It was like a bit.
Yeah.
If it was outside in the street in the UK,
Mm.
you'd be phoning the gas board
There'd
to
be
say
a
that
gas-
there's a gas
yeah,
there's
you
a
would.
gas leak,
yeah.
and it's that
It's
it's
not
that
there
same thing.
anymore though.
No,
It's not there
No.
anymore since
They
they've
probably-
redone it. It's gone.
they probably fixed the gas leak.
It's possibly
Yeah,
what the
yeah, like that.
train when the train was closed and they probably
Yeah.
redid all the bits
Maybe.
of Tiana's.
Maybe. Go on, Claire. Go on. You've waited so
Oh,
long,
man.
very patiently. Apart
No,
from
I'm fine.
chucking in the orange blossom smell and things like that along the way, like so obviously
know what? It's really-
in true style, you end up with like 10 choices. You know.
I haven't finished yet. I think it's really hard because, as everyone said, like we do need to revisit this because, like the hotel smells we've all talked about, and I am a victim of the marketing of all the wax melts, and I'm just thinking of all the different things that I have, and there's some that I absolutely will go to, but I think for me, I'm going to go the really classic moment of arrival at the Magic under the train station, and the first smell you get is popcorn.
Ooh.
And that
Oh,
smell
yeah.
of popcorn
Yeah.
as you enter Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
That pumpkin smell.
That pumped-in fake
Yeah.
popcorn smell that makes you, and when
Yeah.
you know the story as
Yeah.
to why it's there, and that just for me, it's a massive trigger of, do you know what? And if the Dapper Dans are coming round the corner and the smell from the draft horse, I'm okay with that too. But I just I think there is something incredible that people probably walk past it and they miss it. And
Yeah.
for me, you walk past it and you sort of clock it and you recognise it and you go, yeah, it smells like Magic Kingdom.
It's
It
also
smells like the
worth
front of the hub.
also worthy of mentioning there, Claire. Back in the day when we started this podcast, there used to be a trolley show. Now,
Oh.
strangely enough, that used to be simply one of the most amazing things to watch as you experience that same smell
Yeah.
as you
Yeah.
enter the park, and they
Rubbing
would
salt in my wounds.
they would come and meet you just
They
as
would.
you were walking in, and
You
yeah.
also got the smell from the horse at that point as well. Maybe it was the dancers. Who knows?
I was going to say that this sounds like a perfect segue to our next segment of Disney Now and Then.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's like so much stuff has changed over the past 6 years. And just, John, you mentioned the trolley show. It's
Mhm.
just when we were in Disneyland a couple of weeks ago, it was just so much. We walked in there not thinking of what had been taken away from a park. So when now I look at Walt Disney World, because we visited when we first started the show, compared to what we've done on a recent trip, it's interesting to see what has changed.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot that's changed in the last 6 years, and there's been a lot that's been blamed on the pandemic, and it left and then never returned, and Disney
Shake
used it as a good excuse.
What I did
think-
like from
I get into
now, we
trouble.
have
I
Bob
get into
Iger,
Yeah.
but
I mean-
then we did have Bob Iger. So when you look
I
at just from that
also-
point,
yeah,
nothing had
yeah.
changed, but actually, yeah.
Yeah.
We've always had a Bob.
We've always had a Bob.
Yeah.
Bob is consistent. The same Bob
Yeah.
is not consistent,
No.
but we've always had a Bob.
Is this where Josh Damaro changes the name to Bob Damaro
Yeah, probably.
for
Yeah.
continuity purposes?
No.
Yeah.
There's been so much, I think, that's changed that is I'm definitely one that's gonna say most of it is not for the better. I saw a TikTok video only yesterday, I think it was, and it was all of the things that that they were selling.
Was it the advert where
The advert for 2015.
where they were talking about the magic band, and they were talking about all
every
the fast pass that you got 3
the
fast
extra
passes
hour.
a day, extra hour.
Yeah.
Express.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a checklist of all the things that have been taken away.
I know.
And yet,
Yeah.
the thing is, I'll complain about it, I'll whine and moan about it, and I'll still keep going
Yes.
because
And you'll still have an amazing time.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
And I think it's important to remember if you've never been before, that's the best bit because you don't miss any of these things.
Right.
You're not seeing. But yeah, there's a lot changed in the last 6 years.
There's some really impressive attractions. I know some have taken a bit longer than others. I know Tron. I remember, John, you were on your trip in 2019 and you were
Yeah.
sending pictures
Yeah.
of like building sites in like Magic Kingdom and Epcot.
Yeah.
So I think it was like a bit of Guardians of the Galaxy, and where Tron was going to be, where the land had been cleared, ready for it.
Yeah.
And it was just thinking like how long it took to go from then, obviously with the pandemic, and how it changed. And
Yeah.
as we mentioned, how we experience things now are different. No longer do you get a free magic band when you stay at Walt Disney World Hotel. I remember that we've got loads on that door of all of
Yeah.
the ones that we collected at every stay.
I remember
And-
it was only you could only have a grey one. You can have any colour you want.
One, they've got
grey.
As long as it's grey, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I made it a mission at one point to collect all of the colours.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we
we
did
got all
too.
I'm not quite sure if I
I've got
managed
quite
it,
a-
to be honest.
And then I went through a
confident.
phase of putting comedy names on them.
Yeah.
And you'd take them in the presentation box,
Yeah.
and I put stupid names in them.
But the thing is when you went to the attraction with your fast pass, you tapped it and the cast member saw that name. And
Right.
a lot of the times it's like, oh, they're saying our
Dan-
name.
Dan was Thanos at one point.
Oh,
Love
brilliant.
that.
But that was when the technology of the Magic Band, actually you had, again, at the end of It's a Small World, it'd say goodbye and put your name on.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're on Everest and you look at the boards that were interactive boards just before the boarding station, they would come up with your name. And there was also one on Rock and Roller Coaster as you were coming into there as well. And so again, it's kind of, the technology was there, and yet has been kind of peeled back a little bit to depersonalize it, and that's a bit of a shame because actually it really was rather good. When, like you say, Claire, if you put a really unique name in, you knew that's where the technology was actually just pinging your name up on the board and things like
Are
that.
we now finding out why maybe this technology's
No, do you know what? It's because he wanted the purple magic band. Actually, everyone wanted the purple magic band. Dan said, I'm having the purple magic band. I went, great, so that means you're Thanos.
Thanos. Yeah.
End of-
Collecting the stones. Was that it? Collecting all the colours?
Right?
Hang on, was it this one? There you go.
That's the one.
That's the one. Guess whose magic band that is?
That's
Is it
yours.
yours?
That'll be mine then.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love it
That's like
because
purple.
I just but you look at the back of it as well, and this is the bit. It's about keepsakes and it's about
Mhm.
memories, and
I bet you that still works.
it probably does.
Yeah,
I've got
it would.
yeah,
Yeah,
and we've
yeah.
got loads of them. We've got like
And I know a lot of people say like they won't work after a period of time. A lot of the time, the RFID, when you just tap to enter, it was more of
Yeah.
the
I have not
long.
upgraded.
It was
I'm
the
still on a-
long range battery that would you'd have an issue with.
yeah.
And
I'm
we
still
we
old school.
we had an issue in 2019.
It's not that old school though, is it? It's still the bobble ones.
Yes.
It's not straight ones.
It's a number 2.
Yeah.
I do have.
Yeah.
Not a plus.
Are you allowed,
Second
are you allowed,
generation, do you
are you allowed to
Not
say
that
that?
You mean it's second
I am
generation?
going to go home tonight. I'm just like, do you know what? I am not doing very well this evening. Right. I was going to say I've got loads of number 1s as well, but that's like.
First generation, Claire. First generation, second
First edition, second edition,
First
The
edition.
original ones and then the second ones.
and now it's the plus.
There we go.
Because everything
I've
ends in plus
Plus,
now.
I refuse to upgrade because there is no need
We
to
upgraded.
wave their arm.
Oh, and the worst thing is if you don't wave your arm and it still goes off anyway.
I don't need it.
We were in Disneyland walking around and like, why is my
What's
watch
going
upgrades?
off?
Why is
Can't work out
Magic
why.
Band shake? It's like, I don't know. But I have to admit, it was nice to be able to walk up with a Magic Band and tap in and use in Disneyland now. They've got the new gates, so with facial recognition.
Yeah.
So they've only installed them recently, and this is what they've got over installed at Universal and over Epic Universe. That it was just so simple. Don't have to worry about fingerprint. All you do is the first time you do it, you tap your band or you'll scan your barcode, your ticket, and it'll just take a picture, and then it compares that on the next time. So I think the plan is going
What
forward.
happens to all those British people that get really sunburned?
Find out.
We'll find out. Yes.
Does not recognise this person. Appears to be lobster.
They were
pretending
white
to be
last
female.
time they came through.
Just depends who applies the fake tan before they go on holiday.
I tell you,
This is
I
it.
tell you
Yeah.
one of the
Oh,
things
I
that
can
we've
imagine.
got. We have got a 4-day park pass before we had kids and things like that. But we know that there's 1 day remaining on it, so we are going to try. And this is going back a long number of years. One, I've got the ticket. Two,
Is it a paper ticket?
yeah.
Oh wow!
But I am going to try in the summer to see if we can get this 1 day that wasn't used.
Yeah.
You
Tw-
can,
Go to
yeah,
a ticket
we've done it.
centre in Disney
More
Springs.
th- yeah.
And deal with it all.
Or
When,
any
Yeah.
guest
Guest services.
relations.
Yeah.
Any guest
Yeah,
services.
but
will-
that's the side of the thing. But we kept hold of the ticket
Don't
purely
let
from
them
a.
take the ticket from you.
I was
Oh, no,
just about
it's
to
a me-
say,
it's a
ask
big-
for the ticket back.
It's
for
just a
memories.
memento, and
Yeah.
and that's the thing that over the course of especially if you're listening to this for the very first time and you've got your first trip planned, what you'll end up with is the most amazing amount of mementos that you've no idea what to do with, and then there's just sort of they sit
Back
around,
the dust.
they sit
in a
around,
box.
they sit around your house. But
I'm looking around here and like, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've got them. They surround me,
They're just-
and actually
Yeah.
they remind us of each and every trip. And I think this is what makes this whole thing that we've done for 6 years so magical, because we've been able to talk about so much that will always be there, kept somewhere on YouTube. But it's sharing different trips, different memories, different, even just some of the different stories that we've had. And that's the bit that by sharing them each month means that in a way that they live forever. And I this sounds really stupid, but this is the bit that really intrigues me as to what we've done for 6 years, because it will live forever. And that is something that I think we should all be very proud of.
God, I feel like
Um,
singing Queen at this moment in time.
No,
Like
no,
the
it's
first
not
thing's
even
a
so.
Highlander.
No, it's not. No, it's not even so much that, Claire. But it's the fact that I think I'm aware that my kids dip in and out of my trip reports purely to check date and time. So they just Google search, and then they go, and oh, that's what we did in 2013, and it's just like it's there forever. And this is the
Yeah.
bit where I said before, I never wanted to be a creator, but actually, it's.
You always have been.
Yeah, and this is the oddest thing about what we've been able to do for 6 years is just such a powerful thing, and it will live forever. A bit like a musician writing a piece of music and it always being out there, and always being able to share stories. And I think that's what Disney does best, and Disney at its best shares a story and a passion, and that's hopefully over 6 years what we'll be able to manage to do. No matter where you listen to us, be it in the car, be it in the gym, be it, I go back to the Dibcast. We were massive listeners to Dibcast in the car. It was a massive family experience, and that's really where that sort of takes sort of my eldest son, who with your eldest son, Claire, into the fact that they've now become podcasters as well. It's just like
I know.
it's really scary, and it's just like it's so cool that we can actually do this, and after 6 years, we can actually say that we're actually taking it a step further. And I think that's even better as well, because we've got more stuff on the go.
I love the recordings. I have to admit, so far from what I've heard of the Great British Mickey Waffle Junior, I remember when we sort of talked about the idea of it before, and it was like, I was so surprised of the summer that they had last year, that they were able to work at Walt Disney World, a place that, as I said on shows before, that I would have loved to have had the opportunity.
Yeah.
And now I get to sort of relive that, what they experienced last summer, the good and the bad, and just sort of just enjoy it. And it's
That's
not,
the thing.
I wouldn't say it was the good and the bad, Ben. I
no,
actually
but I think you get
no,
all of it. You get the full experience.
but it's what we've done all along, and we've tried to be honest with people. I was trying to be positive, but we're always trying to be honest, and we wouldn't, I know at times we can be a bit too honest if there's stuff that we don't like, but I think that kind of comes across, and that, I'll put me dad hat on, and I'm sure Claire will with a mum hat, with Morg, is the fact that we've got two sons that actually went and lived the dream for a summer, but they've actually come out of it much bigger people and much stronger people than they went in. And I think that is the bit about going and being challenged in your life. And I think amongst all of us, we've been challenged massively over 6 years, and we've managed to keep this as our positivity and as our part of life, where we can share a love of a place that we all love. And actually, there was no better moment than last year. Than walking back in after being away for 5 years. It's just like, goodness me, that's it just doesn't leave you. And if I know we say if it's your first time or your 100th time, that whole thing of walking back into a Disney park is so special. It really is, and words can't do it. Words can't describe the inner feeling, because it brings out the very best in you. And if we can,
it doesn't matter either, does it? It doesn't matter how much of that other stuff changes.
No.
Things come and go from the parks. New rides come along.
Yeah.
Old loved rides disappear and evolve, and staff changes. But that same feeling of that magic you get when you're there, I don't think that leaves, whether you go twice a year or you go once every 5 years. There's still that same feeling when you're in a park and you are living it there.
And it's the same draw you get back. And that's the reason why we do what we do, because we all have that shared passion, that shared love of Disney, whether it's Disneyland, Disney World, Disney films. There's so much that everyone has a different way of doing Disney. I know when we started this, we spoke about films quite a lot. And during lockdown, we couldn't go to Disney parks. We had a whole show that we did on what was on Disney Plus when it first came to the UK. And I remember we found out some of those films that none of us really thought about, and some of them completely scared me, which I think was Returns at Oz, which is
You could not pay me enough to watch that film again.
Thank you,
I don't
Robin.
think I've ever seen it.
Nightmares as a child.
Yeah, nightmare.
It's amazing.
It's nightmare fuel. It really is. It looks
terrifying.
scarier than Monsters Unchained at Epic Universe.
For anyone who's
Mum-
never watched Swiss Family Robinson, you need to go and watch the original of that.
I
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
seen
I've
that.
seen that.
actually.
If you're
I
going to
haven't seen
if you're going to go up the treehouse, you need to watch the film.
I've never been up the
Never
treehouse.
Oh no! Oh no!
Right,
Hang on.
Can
Stop
worms
the recording.
everywhere.
That's it.
Right there.
That's it.
You
That's
haven't
it.
either.
So
I know, but
You haven't either.
we need
No, I
another
haven't.
Carousel of Questions question to say which is the most.
Attraction have you
Which-
never?
Never
Yeah.
been.
Oh my word!
Wow.
That'd
Oh,
be the one.
goodness
I don't think
me.
No, I'm pretty sure I've never been up there.
Oh,
No,
oh,
I
you've got to, if only for the fact that you get a really
the most amazing views.
yeah, and just like
I keep saying I'll
there-
do it next time.
there is some amazing photo opportunities as you get further up the tree that you can't get a photo of from Love No Money at any other part in the park. It's just like,
I've got visions of John carrying a big camera with all these lenses to get a good picture at the top of the tree.
yeah, but you just take your phone now. Yeah,
Yeah, the
Back in-
1990s
back in-
camcorder
back
on his
in
shoulder.
back in the day, it would have been sort of different, a different lens and stuff. Now you just my last trip, I went with my iPhone, and actually, I can't
do.
actually tell much difference between
There are-
the photos I took last year and the ones that I took probably 10, 15
There are
years ago.
days where I wish I took my big DSLR
Yeah.
and
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have. I tell you what, Claire doesn't have. Make the shoulders feel a little bit easier at the end of a park day is a whole lot better.
7300 lens.
Uh,
Oh man.
yeah.
Sorry, you've never been up the treehouse. What is going on?
You're not going to let that go.
That's the name of the episode.
and that's the thing. When we started all this off, we used to have really smart episode names and things like that. And now,
Millennium Falcon is not
Not
playing.
playing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lloyd.
And we've now become a little bit more sort of subtle in how we share that. Yeah, I've never been up the Swiss Family Robinson tree. Yeah.
Well, I think that's hole in the
No,
waffles
I think
arts.
the title for this.
I think it was
Deep dive. A deep dive.
Simon the Deep Diver could be the other.
A deep dive.
Deep dive for the Great British Mickey Waffle.
You'll get all sorts of random viewers.
Right? Clickbait to the extreme.
So 6 years in, we're just getting started. I don't know where we're going to be in the next 6 years. Who knows? But we do have some plans. And as we mentioned, for our brand new spin-off, the Great British Mickey Waffle Junior, hosted by the next generation of wafflers. And I know this summer, pretty much all of us are going to be in Orlando this summer.
We are.
All at the
And
same
you know,
time.
Yeah, with vlogs and park reports, and hopefully, I think there's been some conversations in the Wafflers Arms about people staying at the same place at the same time. And, if you're there in the summer, let us know.
Yeah.
So
I would love to see a Mickey Waffle gathering.
Yeah.
I won't be
I
there.
don't want to
obviously.
do something for though, because it's not kind of us.
So yeah, I think we might meet up some summer in person. And like Claire, like you said, if we're staying in the same resorts, we're out there for 16 nights. John, you're out there for a couple of weeks or 3 weeks, I think.
3 weeks.
3 months.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I
yes,
wish
3 weeks.
3 weeks because you got to. Because actually, if you're paying
Can.
if you're paying for the flight, stay as long as you can. Yeah, 3
I
weeks.
agree.
Yeah, and I'm now.
3 weeks is such a long time.
Oh, we stayed for 5 before, and I'm a bit gutted we're not going for longer. But
5. Wow.
a 5 week
That's a
5 week trip was actually pushing the limit. And
Of time spent with your family.
no, because we had to. Oh no, read the trip report. I'm not going to bore you. Because there's a massive story that we actually got bumped off the flight coming home, and that's to stay. We had to stay another day, and then we could have stayed another couple of days if we'd have been really on point. But I didn't. But it paid for the flight for the following year.
And there you go.
Thank you,
I'll always take one of those.
Thank you, Mr. Branson.
I have to say, as some of those who won't be there this August, I hope you do have a meet-up. I think you should. I think it would be lovely. And give anyone who would like to join you the opportunity if they would. And then if no one else wants to come, it doesn't matter. You'll have a great time anyway.
Yeah, we'll be.
Let's get a bar tab going, and
Get
then
a bar tab.
there you go.
Yeah.
We'll be in the Rose Crown. I bet.
We've got some exciting plans for the next chapter of the Great British Mickey Waffle.
So from our brand new spin-off that we mentioned earlier, the Great British Mickey Waffle Junior, hosted by the next generation of wafflers,
To more travel vlogs, park reports, and maybe you in person.
And we'll keep bringing you news, planning tips, saving you a few quid tips as well. Honest opinions, and our trademark blend of British charm and Disney magic.
And don't forget, we're always here live on YouTube on Wednesday evenings at 6. And don't forget, we're always here on YouTube at 8:30 on Wednesday evenings, or even Friday if you catch up on the podcast.
So don't forget, if you want to find us, here's where to go. You can find us on all your favourite major platforms for our podcast, and you can listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube. Our live shows and vlogs are all on there. We're on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook. And if you search for the Great British Mickey Waffle, you'll find your way to us eventually.
It's actually dead easy now, Simon.
Yeah.
When we first started all this, you put it in on Google and you scroll down pages and pages. If you put the Great British Mickey Waffle in, it's the first one on the
We're
list.
the first one.
We're the first one. It's
You
quite
can also
nice.
just ask Alexa to play the Great
Yeah.
British Mickey Waffle.
Or go gbmickywaffle.com and you'll have everything there. So
Even better.
thank you for being with us through this 6 amazing years. Whether this is your first episode or your 100th, we're so grateful to have you with us. We hope you've enjoyed getting to know us again, and we'd love to hear your Disney stories too.
So here's to more waffle, or Disney, or magic.
Until the next time, keep smiling, keep dreaming.
And remember, it's not goodbye.
it's see you real soon.
I thought we were going to try and say that together. Let's not even try.
No, we'll see you real soon.
See you real soon.
Now my wheels in motion and my